Surrounded by ocean light and weathered cedar, Seth Meyers' Martha's Vineyard retreat feels more like a fairy tale seaside barn than a mansion, a place where laughter echoes throughout the house and mornings begin with salty ocean air. Today, we step inside this coastal paradise to explore his home, land, and life by the sea. Before he entered this quiet phase, he had a stellar career, from small-town theater to national fame. Seth Adam Meyers was born on December 28, 1973, in Evanston, Illinois. He grew up in the sleepy towns of Okemos, Michigan, and Bedford, New Hampshire. His mother, Hillary, was a French teacher who brought joy to the family, while his father, Lawrence, worked in finance and was a shining example. Together, they raised two sons, who learned to listen long before they became famous. At Northwestern University, Seth found his voice not in lectures but on stage, performing with the school's improv group, Meow. There, he discovered that comedy wasn't just about getting laughs. It was about timing, authenticity, and the courage to stand up in front of a crowd. Those years shaped everything that would come. After graduating, he unexpectedly moved to Amsterdam, joining the improv group Boom Chicago. Their shows were loud, unpredictable, and often ended with laughter echoing down the canal streets. It was there that Saturday Night Live scouts discovered him, a tall New Hampshire native with a talent for turning every line into a perfect laugh. When Seth joined Saturday Night Live in 2001, the world was holding its breath. America was changing, and comedy was searching for meaning again. He started quietly, writing alone in the corner of Studio 8H while others chased the spotlight. But his voice soon rose through the noise, sharp, grounded, and instinctively funny. By 2006, he was head writer, steering the sketches that would define the show's golden years. He co-wrote Tina Fey's iconic Sarah Palin impressions and anchored Weekend Update with that calm, steady wit that became his trademark. For Seth, Weekend Update wasn't just comedy, it was connection. Behind that desk, he became the calm voice of late night, making tough news easier to hear. His chemistry with Amy Poehler turned the segment into cultural shorthand for smart rebellion. Off-camera, he wasn't chasing fame. He was shaping a kind of humor that found its strength in honesty, a rhythm built on empathy, timing, and restraint. By 2014, after 13 years at Saturday Night Live, he felt the need for a new rhythm. National Broadcasting Company called, and Late Night with Seth Meyers was born. His first guest was Amy Poehler, his bandleader Fred Armisen. The debut felt less like a launch and more like a reunion of old friends. At first, Late Night carried the familiar tone, same tailored suit, same quick grin, but over time it deepened. The show evolved into something more reflective, less about punchlines and more about perspective. Where others chased virality, Seth crafted essays in disguise, thoughtful, precise, and quietly brave. His A Closer Look series became both compass and mirror, mixing humor with moral clarity. Critics called it the smartest show on television. Seth called it telling the truth. Then came 2020. The studio lights went dark, and Late Night moved into his attic. No audience, no makeup, just a man in a sweater talking through the uncertainty of a world on pause. The lighting was uneven, the laughter off-screen, but it was real. That raw, homemade version of Late Night reminded viewers what they loved about him most: authenticity. When the show returned to its studio, Seth had changed. He no longer needed applause to know he'd reached people. His connection had outgrown the stage. Viewers had followed him home and stayed. Ratings stayed strong, but the tone had matured. Half comedy, half confession, always honest. He had spent decades mastering the rhythm of Late Night. Now, his life had found a quieter beat. The lights, the laughter, the monologues, they all led here to a different kind of stage. Away from the city's noise, Seth Meyers built a home that mirrors his true self, calm, genuine, and full of warmth. Now, Let's step inside his Martha's Vineyard retreat, where applause fades and the ocean speaks instead. Resorts on Martha's Vineyard. From the moment you turn onto the quiet road leading to Seth Meyers' Martha's Vineyard, the pace slows. The sea air smells of salt and pine, and the sound of waves gently lapping against the sand dunes. Set on the shores of Lake Menemsha is a 4,000-square-foot estate worth about $7 million, a gorgeous waterfront home with panoramic ocean views. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. This place offers not just luxury but also serenity. Simple, ivy-covered wooden gates open to a garden that looks more painted than planted. Hydrangeas bloom alongside wildflowers. Stone walkways wind toward the entrance, where distressed cedar shingles blend with clean glass and steel. The design balances two worlds, the timeless charm of New England and the casual charm of modern architecture. It's a house that listens more than it speaks. Stepping through the front door, light becomes the first language. Morning floods the living room through floor-to-ceiling windows, filling the space with a quiet silver. The linen sofa faces the water, its muted tones reflecting the sand outside. The oak floors, sun-bleached and slightly rough, tell their own story, each knot shaped by years and weather. This is where Seth starts his day, cup of coffee in hand, watching the mist drift across the lake before the world wakes. The walls around him are covered with sketches and notes, memories of long nights writing. The kitchen maintains its own quiet rhythm, white marble countertops gleaming under brass appliances, wooden chairs folded for family breakfasts, and the rare moments he spends writing at home. Alexi Ash moves gently through the space, her laughter mingling with the whistle of the kettle and the sound of small footsteps. Morning light streams through the east window, shimmering on plates and cups, and sleepy smiles gather around the table. Wrapped in blankets, the three children come in, telling stories before the day begins. The dining room naturally blends with the kitchen. Once an afterthought, now the heart of the house. A long wooden table sits beneath a glass pendant light made by a local artisan. Friends, neighbors, and literary friends often gather here on summer nights, enjoying fresh seafood and conversations that last well past dessert. Just outside the open door, the sound of waves gently lapping, a rhythm as familiar as breathing. Upstairs, the sound fades. The master bedroom opens directly onto the lake, windows blurring the line between home and horizon. The walls were a soft pearl, like wet sand at low tide. At night, moonlight stretched across the ceiling, what Seth once called his writing light. The children's room told a different story. Unevenly pasted drawings, half-read books, sunlight on the windowsill. Imperfect, and that was exactly why it felt like home. Even the bathroom had a quiet quality. Stone tiles, polished nickel, a deep soaking tub, every element was built to create stillness. From one window, the ocean shimmered in the distance. Seth often ended the day here, letting the sound of running water replace the clapping of hands. Downstairs, life was bustling again. A cozy nook with books and vinyl opened up into a small home theater, a favorite spot for late-night family movie nights and classical music. There's a dartboard, a vintage record player, and a modest bar filled with souvenir bottles instead of price tags. Every corner is carved by everyday life, not design. Step outside, and the world opens up. A stone patio leads to a heated pool that reflects the sky. Wood decks stretch to a walkway, leading down to a private beach on Lake Menemsha. This is where mornings begin and end. Seth tossing a ball to his frisbee, the kids chasing seagulls, Alexi quietly reading in the shade. The air carries salt and laughter, unfiltered, unstaged, and perfect. As the sun sets behind the dunes, the house settles into its evening rhythm, peaceful, leisurely, and filled with quiet joy. Out on the beach, a different rhythm emerges, the hum of engines and open roads. Get away from the resort life of Martha's Vineyard and into the world of motion, where Seth Meyers' love of speed is reflected in his car collection. Car collection. The first car in Seth Meyers' collection was a Lexus RX, a car that exuded quiet confidence rather than flash. He bought it soon after settling in New York, when his career on Saturday Night Live was taking off. It was practical, smooth, and family-friendly, a bridge between the chaos of late writing nights and the peace of home. He often drove through the tree-lined streets of Connecticut with his wife, Alexi, and their dog in the back seat, the purr of the hybrid engine mingling with soft laughter from the radio. The RX, now worth about $50,000, became more than a car. It reflected his modest success. Next up was the Volvo XC90, chosen on a fatherly instinct. With 3 rows of seats and top-notch safety features, it wasn't about luxury, it was about safety. Meyers was often seen driving this car near his Manhattan townhouse, with 316 horsepower and a value of about $60,000. It could move quickly when needed, but its real power lay in the feeling of security it gave his family. His Lincoln Town Car told a different story: nostalgia. It was the car he drove to National Broadcasting Company headquarters countless times, the car that carried him through snowstorms, script deadlines, and post-show relaxation. Years later, he bought one for himself, a 2005 model with thick leather seats and a distinctive V8 sound. Today, it costs about $15,000, but its real value is sentimental, a reminder of long New York nights, when success mingled with car fumes and coffee. And finally, the Mercedes-Benz SL, an indulgence. Sleek, low, and naturally styled, it was a gift to himself after a decade of late nights. He first took it out on a summer morning along the Hudson River, top down, music off, just the wind and the engine. The 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 produced 362 horsepower, and with a retail price of nearly $115,000, it was a reward for years of balancing fun and discipline. What he treasured wasn't the speed, but the freedom. Each trip was a breath of fresh air, a moment between script and shot where life, for a few miles, was entirely his. Each car in his garage tells a story, not of extravagance, but of steady progress and personal meaning. Behind the shine of every vehicle is the same thing that built his fortune: patience, precision, and quiet belief. Now let's shift from the road to the rewards. The story of Seth Meyers' income and net worth, and how a life of late nights turned into lasting wealth. Income and net worth. With an estimated net worth of $25 million, his career reflects years of relentless work, built not on flash, but on consistency and wit. Much of that wealth comes from his role as host of NBC's Late Night with Seth Meyers, which brings in about $5 million a year. Since taking over in 2014, he has become the network's calm host of the 12:30 a.m. show, known for his combination of political savvy, subtle humor, and nightly precision on A Closer Look, a show that cemented his status as one of the most trusted voices of his time. Before there was a desk and a city skyline, there was Studio 8H, the legendary home of Saturday Night Live. From 2001 to 2014, he was more than just an actor. He's also the architect of jokes that shape national conversations. As head writer of SNL and host of Weekend Update, he earns an estimated $500,000 to $700,000 a year. But the real payoff comes from recognition. Those years have honed him into a writer who can balance sharpness with empathy, a voice that now shapes his own show. Off-screen, Meyers' income has quietly grown thanks to other creative ventures. He hosts major awards shows, from the Golden Globes to the Emmys, for a salary rumored to be as high as $50,000 to $100,000 per event, though the real value lies in the prestige it brings. In addition to hosting, he co-writes comedy specials, voices animated characters, and performs sold-out stand-up shows across the country, often earning 5 figures per performance. Each of these side projects builds the foundation of his brand, Smart, witty, and down-to-earth. It all paints a picture of quiet success, one built not on excess, but on hard work. And while the spotlight often shines on him, Seth Meyers' influence extends far beyond that. Away from his massive income, his story takes a different turn, one defined by his generosity, his purpose, and the causes he quietly champions. Philanthropy. It all started with a simple gesture, long before fame and late-night monologues. In 2004, Seth Meyers won $100,000 on Celebrity Poker Showdown and donated it all to the Jimmy Fund, an organization that supports cancer research at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. It wasn't about attention. It was instinct. That moment marked the beginning of a quiet but enduring pattern, turning success into something contagious. Over the next decade, Meyers turned that instinct into action. In 2012, he joined the charity, Water, which helps fund clean water projects across Africa and South Asia. His contributions, estimated at $50,000, supported wells that now serve thousands of people. He didn't just lend money, he also made the organization known, appearing in awareness campaigns, sharing its mission with audiences who might never have known it existed. His philanthropy soon expanded to human rights when he began working with Amnesty International. Known for his sharp yet compassionate commentary, Meyers linked his voice to the organization's global advocacy, combining personal donations with public support. The partnership reflected his belief that comedy can illuminate, not obscure, the truth. Back home, his philanthropy found another focus: the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Through financial support and fundraising events, he supported programs that gave children creative opportunities and safe spaces to thrive. The donations, often estimated at close to $50,000, go beyond the numbers. They reflect the small-town values he grew up in, where communities thrive by lifting up their youngest members. Meyers also supports the Natural Resources Defense Council, an organization that advocates for clean energy and environmental protection. He has participated in campaigns worth $50,000 or more, advocating for policies that conserve air, water, and open space. His environmental views reflect the steadiness that has defined his career: cautious, pragmatic, and deeply personal. From health to human rights, his efforts share one rhythm: steady, sincere, and deeply human. For Meyers, giving isn't duty, it's who he is. Away from the stage lights and applause, his world slows down, rooted in family, reflection, and the quiet joy of ordinary days. Personal life. These days, Seth Meyers measures life in quiet moments rather than applause. After decades under the bright studio lights, his world is smaller, more solid, built around family. He and his wife, Alexi Ash, a human rights lawyer, married in July 2013 after 5 years of dating. Together, they are raising 3 Jewish children in a home filled with laughter, warmth, and a sense of belonging. Their time is divided between Manhattan and Martha's Vineyard, where the family retreats when filming slows. The island home isn't a symbol of success. It's a seaside retreat where mornings begin with the sun stretching across the water and the sound of children splashing in the pool. There, career takes a back seat, and fatherhood comes first. In New York, the pace is more familiar but also very real. Meyers is often seen in the park pushing a stroller or walking hand in hand with his sons, UFOs running alongside. His small dog, a regular on his show, has become a symbol of family life. Simple, loyal, and quietly happy. Evenings are often spent around the dinner table, with bedtime stories and the soft glow of a Celtics or Steelers game on TV. Sports remain his undying passion. A die-hard fan of the Boston Red Sox, Celtics, and Pittsburgh Steelers, he still cheers like he did as a child in New Hampshire. His younger brother Josh is often by his side at games. The two brothers easily mingle with the crowd, as they did long before fame found them. Those simple rituals say more about Seth than any red carpet. Offstage, his group of friends have settled into their careers. Many are longtime friends from his Saturday Night Live days, comedians bonded by exhaustion, caffeine, and endless late-night laughter. They meet for dinner or drinks, joking more about aging and parenthood than ratings. His wit is still sharp, but his energy has softened. He listens more than he performs. Most days follow an easy rhythm. Mornings with the kids, then a trip to 30 Rockefeller Plaza to tape Late Night with Seth Meyers before heading home around dusk. Evenings are spent reading, writing, and simply living in the moment. Work is still a part of him, but it no longer defines the canvas of his life. Seth Meyers has learned to keep his fame in one hand and his family in the other, both solid, both sincere. As the lights dimmed, what remained was laughter, warmth, and a little peace. Does Seth Meyers' story make you curious about anything else? If so, please comment below to let us know, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.